This is the Holla Story, a branded podcast from Holla Spirits and York Media, about two lifelong friends who set out to challenge the spirit industry and create a vodka brand for millennials like them. I'm Rebecca Hanlon of York Media, and I'm sitting down with the co-founders of Holla Spirits, who are gung-ho about taking on the vodka industry one bottle at a time. Guys, introduce yourselves as if I were meeting you at a bar or a party for the first time.
I'm Patrick Shorb with Holla Vodka. We are out of York, Pennsylvania, which is about an hour north of Baltimore or about 2 hours west of Philadelphia.
And I'm Matt Glaser, and I help Patrick try to move Holla Vodka as well.
Get it done, right? So you guys, I've known you for a little while, and even though I know kind of your background and who you are, it still surprises me that you are vodka guys. And that your vodka brand is Holla Vodka. So talk to me a little bit about that. What is Holla Vodka and what makes that unique for you guys?
Matt, you want to take that one with the background of the word?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the word holla itself, I mean, we grew up in the 90s, so, hip-hop had just started to go, mainstream. Holla was a term that was prevalent in a lot of the major musical acts at the time, and we always just thought it was a fun, exciting word. So fast forward a couple years later, after college, we're just casually throwing back ideas through emails, phone calls, and we just really liked Holla for a brand name in general. There's pretty much two types of people when they see the word Holla. The first reaction is someone that's like, Ola or Holla, and then there's other people that see it and instantly they're just like Holla. And we were kind of excited by that level of interest that the word just would instantly generate from people that got it.
Yeah.
So that's what attracted us to the word. In terms of how we linked it to vodka, that kind of was something associated with Pat. I'll let him go into more detail about that then.
Gotcha. Okay. So before we get too much into the brand and what Holla is, we want to talk a little bit about your background and how you're connected. So you guys have actually known each other for most of your lives.
Probably since we were about 10, 12 years old. Our parents were friends growing up, and there's about 5 families that always kind of stuck together. So my sister was friends with Matt's sisters. I was friends with Matt growing up. We'd go to basketball camp together. That didn't really pan out for me. Yeah. We played golf against each other in high school. We would go to family vacations at the beach together, go up into a cabin in northern Pennsylvania, that kind of thing, and just always remain friends. So we're still, all 5 families are good friends till this day, and we hang out a lot. And now we've got a business together.
And
so
you guys went to college together.
Intimate. We did,
Correct.
Yeah.
Penn State.
So both went to Penn State. Matt was up there first. He's a year ahead of me in school, and went up there. I went up my senior year of high school, and prior to going to Penn State, I was like, it's too cold up there. No way I'm going to go there. One night out or one weekend out with Matt, and I was like, yep, we're definitely going to go to Penn State. This is a winner. Yeah, it's for us. And we ended up as roommates junior and senior year.
Oh, okay.
Up there. Yeah.
So you guys the Holla brand has in some ways been an alter ego for you guys, where it's this really fun, loud, party kind of brand that people don't see that from you guys Monday through Friday. But how did that start to develop even early on when you guys were at Penn State, that you almost kind of took on that persona of what the Holla brand would be?
Yeah, I think some of that came from our origins at school, just, enjoying going out and having fun and being a part of that atmosphere. I think we're both relatively shy and in general, but I think it is our alter ego where we get to express some creativity, and, we stay behind the scenes. We put out Holla Vodka for everybody to have a really good time. Our first bottle had a UV reactive coating on it. We wanted people to go into the nightclub, and instead of, some of the crafty style brands you see in there, let's amp it up a little bit and, have a good time.
And I would add that even if you are a shy, quiet type, if you've seen the nightlife in State College, it can definitely make you the Holla type.
So when you guys were in school, Penn State, not shy about being a fun school to be at. What did that look like for you guys? I mean, what were you guys at that time messing around with the idea for Holla Vodka, or what did that look like at that time for you guys?
Not so much as a business idea or anything like that. I mean, at that point, any interaction we had with alcohol was purely recreational, but it wasn't until really after college that we even entertained the idea of going into business in the alcohol industry.
Mm-hmm. When you created it, and we'll get into this a little bit down the road, but you created this vodka that really spoke to your generation. So when you guys were kind of coming to age with drinking, what was out there for your generation?
Gosh, yeah. So we would walk into liquor stores in State College, or, if we were home for break. And in Pennsylvania, they're a little bit more bland, white walls, gray shelving, that kind of thing. And you'd start bottom shelf typically. Okay, that's your razor blade vodka. Tastes, not so good going down.
College budget.
Yeah, $8 a handle kind of thing. Then you looked at that middle shelf and was like, okay, this is pretty much everything our parents drank for many years, which is all either very, very stale or faded or just kind of, old, didn't resonate. And then you look at the top shelf and you've got tall bottles, frosted glass, twice the price, not much better quality than anything you'll find on the middle shelf. So it's just kind of annoying to see some of the gimmicks that were out there, so to speak, and just big companies trying to, force you to pay a little bit more of a premium for something that's not really worth it. And it was frustrating. It was like, okay, well, I think maybe we can do better than that someday, but never acted on it at that time.
So what were you going to school for?
Accounting.
Both of us.
A little drier.
A lot drier. Yeah, if you've met accountants, we're not the most active type generally.
Yeah, sure.
But put a little Holla vodka in us and
no pocket protectors.
No, yeah.
So when was it then that you guys graduated from Penn State with your accounting degrees?
2008 for both of us, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even though I was there a year early, I took one for the team and stayed an extra year to graduate.
They enticed you there. You were having a good time.
Twisted my arm.
He was the smart one and added time to his stay.
So after graduation, you have these accounting degrees. What did you guys end up doing?
I went into construction, working for a family business here in York. Came back, my family's here. Went into that and stayed there for about 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And I pretty much did the complete opposite. I was totally disenchanted with accounting by the time I had graduated. I kind of made a half-assed effort to try to find a real job per se.
Yeah.
Ended up going into just serving at restaurants, pizza delivery, things like that, anything to get by, and actually ended up going back to school to take some IT classes. Tried to start my own fantasy football type platform with some friends. Okay. We entertained that idea for a couple years, never really panned out, and I eventually found myself caddying outside of Philadelphia. Okay. And that's kind of where the timing lines up, where we started really discussing about moving forward with Holla.
Okay. So what happened at that time period where, you're caddying? Are you still at the family business at that point?
Yeah. Still in construction, a little bit of sales. It was about 5 years after we graduated from school. I was up in Portland, Maine, visiting a customer and shadowing one of our salespeople. And we had taken this customer golfing. We were sitting out on the patio afterwards, having some drinks. And this gentleman, good friend now, started telling us the story about one of his good friends that he grew up with. And he started 2 big household names of vodka and some other spirits, rums, vodka, whiskey, that kind of thing. And it was like, okay, that's interesting. I wonder how he did it or how he got started and, why he did it. And in the vodka space, it was, it's very hard to create a distinct vodka. So most of it in general is marketing. And we wanted, obviously looking back, it was like, okay, there's nothing for our generation. How can we get into that and how can we make something fun? So we sat there, had some shots of whipped cream vodka and, just kind of heard that story and then got home and really started digging into the industry and learning more about it.
So, I mean, what was it particular about, that timeline? You graduated at kind of a crummy time to graduate from college. It was the height of the recession.
Yeah.
So you experienced it couch surfing in the Philly area. So you get this idea. What about that conversation and coming back from that? What were those next steps?
Next steps was about a year of research, bottle design. Matt and I worked with a company. So basically, we would come home from work and have 3 hours to work with a company based in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
That we would have 3 hours to work on design or the bottle or that kind of thing. We wasted 6 months on a bottle that NASA would have had to put together for us. With
knew nothing about glass integrity and structure, stuff like that.
Okay.
So we were coming up with these really ornate designs, and they were basically telling us we could do a test mold, run some samples, and every single one of them could just break off the second you pick them up.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so that didn't work out, and went back to the drawing board, went with a stock bottle, and worked with the right companies to come up with what is Holla today.
Did you guys know anybody at the time who was doing anything like that, like making their own liquors, or anybody in the area that you could talk to? Because it's such a, who's just going to come up with a vodka? So where did you guys
We didn't know any liquor people. We all had some people that we knew through other people that we had heard had tried the microbrew or the micro beer thing.
Okay.
So we did know some people that had done that.
Yeah, and unlike microbrewing, micro distilling, you weren't allowed to take a still and create vodka or spirits in your basement or in your garage.
Sure.
Because it's a federal offense. So we were like, okay, that's not going to work.
Right.
But talk to Christian Quinlivan at Liquid Hero, you would be familiar with. He was super helpful. We went down there, took a tour. He showed us around sort of, how they got started and showed us the origins of that. And then Jeremiah Anderson, also working downtown at the time, used to be a liquor rep. And he's like, yeah, guys, you should definitely get into this. We would push products that were, nowhere near what you guys are trying to put out. So
and for people who don't know Jeremiah, he's with White Rose and Rockfish. And those two establishments, I think it's always been really cool. Looking at today, you walk in there, you guys have some nice representation in these hometown places. So, I mean, I think that's interesting in some ways that you were able to get support even with that early idea to get into some of those places. So at that point, you're talking to some local people, you're playing around with the right kind of bottle to be able to hold what it is that you want to get out there. With brand building, bottle design, state and federal regulations and licensing.
Yeah, those were interesting.
But you were doing some of this stuff still while you had other jobs.
Yeah, all of it. I was still working at the construction company. We were working nights, weekends, nights till midnight, 2 a.m., building our own pallets and getting ready to, start labeling bottles. And you can talk about the storage facility. And
early on, I was still caddying at the time.
Okay.
So, when we were trying to find the supplies like glass, things like that, that was stuff that you could kind of do in your spare time. Now, once we actually got all of the materials for the initial batch of original vodka that we did, all the empty glass, all the labels, at that time I had stopped caddying, and I was basically doing this full time because it just wasn't something I could really work around. Like he said, when we were labeling the first batch of glass, we were I was in the kitchen of my parents' house, bringing in glass bottles from the garage, running them through the machine, stacking them on the table, putting neck labels on, throwing them back in the case. I was doing 8-10 hour shifts of that a day.
Jeez.
So, and then driving back and forth to our self-storage facility where we were storing all this empty glass. So
in a Honda Civic.
Yeah, a Honda Civic nonetheless.
Gotta get it done.
So, at that point, it wasn't something that we could just kind of, or at least on that side of it, it wasn't something that I could balance with another job. I needed to have total free time for this.
Yeah.
So you're working on labeling bottles and storing them. Where's the vodka?
Vodka at that point, we searched all around the country. We looked into starting a micro distillery in downtown York. Worked with Dylan Bauer to find some properties. Didn't have the money to do that at the time. We were trying to figure out, okay, can somebody else make this stuff for us? So we were calling around the country, even up into Canada with other distilleries, asking them like, hey, we want to start this vodka brand. Are you able to make this product for us, and that kind of thing? And at that point, it turned out pretty easily. We found a really nice company in Philadelphia to work with, and they helped us with our first batches to sort of get up and running.
Okay.
That was really, really successful, and worked out well for us, with our day jobs and that kind of thing, until they called Matt out of the blue one day and said, hey, we're not going to be doing any more third-party products. Turns out later on we learned they got bought out and just kind of focused on their own stuff. So at that point it was like, okay, we have our jobs and, can still make cash doing whatever. And just went back to the grind, and we didn't give up, but we were definitely at a brick wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of naturally leads us into, Matt, you had an interesting experience on the golf course that really was a turning point for you guys. Tell us about that interaction and what happened as a caddy.
Well, yeah, so, now that I'm actually thinking about it, since caddying's seasonal, it would have been like the summer I was still caddying as we were sourcing everything. That winter would have been when a lot of the bottling and stuff, or the labeling had been done. So it's not that I wasn't caddying, it wasn't the season at the time.
Gotcha.
So I think that
sense.
following summer would have been around the time that we lost our original contract distiller.
Oh, okay.
So, part of the deal with caddying is a lot of those guys, it's not the only thing they do. They have other side jobs. So just part of the small talk is whoever you're carrying their bag, they're like, hey, what do you do when you're not caddying? So at that point, I was telling people, me and my buddy are trying to start a vodka company from scratch. And it just so happened that this guy was an investor in a Pennsylvania gin company, and he let me know that. So when we found out that we lost the contract distiller, I had that name in the back of my head, went on their website, found Rhiannon, who was their head distiller at the time, and I just sent her an email and pretty much laid out the story. Told her, look, I'm caddying at a golf club here. A guy just mentioned that he invests in your company. We just had a contract distiller that no longer can make vodka for us. Can you help us out? And that's pretty much how we met Rhiannon. And she got back to me like a day or two later, and it was just like, I usually don't respond to random requests like this, but there's just something about your guys' story that's interesting to me. And she followed up on it, and we just kind of started moving forward from there.
So who is she?
Rhiannon Walsh is kind of our second mother now.
Okay.
I would say she has been integral to the brand and getting us really from those early days to where we've gotten to now. Rhiannon, she's from Ireland, came over to the U.S. many years ago, I guess, to start the San Francisco World Spirits competition.
Okay.
And ran that for a few years, ended up back in Philadelphia area, and like Matt said, was working on some other spirits at the time. She has an extensive knowledge in brown spirits, in bourbons, whiskeys, scotches, that kind of thing. She's an expert, knows, and can basically blend or create world-class spirits. Like it's it comes just naturally to Rhiannon with what she does, and has access to all the vendors and the people that she's gotten us acquainted with to be able to make the new products that we've put out here. Again, we like to stick to kind of all natural stuff, no chemical additives, real, we're using real mint, we're using real jalapeno, real cinnamon. And that's where Rhiannon's, personal touch comes into play, where she loves the brand and is really high on quality and knows how to make it, very high quality product. So we got lucky. She had no business really having lunch with us that day, and just we met and it clicked, and the rest is sort of history.
So if I have the timelines right, you would have met her in about 2016?
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
So, you graduated 2008, go through this this period of time of figuring life out. That's quite a few years to kind of come around to full circle on this idea that had started, and a long time to kind of develop it.
Mm-hmm.
At that point where you guys ready to get fully into Holla and make that your thing?
No, it was a really slow process. I mean, even the licensing alone took a couple years to get through the federal level and then the state level, and then to work with Rhiannon and then set up a new distillery near her house. I mean, it takes time. So, Matt's still working, where he is, and I'm where I am. This is just a hobby. It was kind of the plan was, you see a lot of microbrewers have their day jobs and then they brew at night. And that was our plan. We never saw this turning into a full-time business the way it did.
What was that turning point for you then? Because it is your full-time thing now.
Yeah, it is now. So I was let go in the summer of 2016, and just so happened that within about a month, I was out interviewing and trying to get jobs around here. Rhiannon was also let go, and it was like, okay, it's either now or never. We're going to do this and see where it goes. Kind of only live once, and that's when it began. We made the dedicated push, and Matt was right there and ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, I was always, like I said, I was working like seasonal jobs that, there's already a high turnover rate on. So it's like, it was nothing for me to just be like, let's give this starting my own business thing another chance. Because that's always the kind of things that interest me in the get-go. Like, I wanted to start that fantasy football platform. That was something I was passionate about. The other jobs I was working was just to like make money. So when given another opportunity to like be involved in something at the ground floor level, I mean, those are the kind of things that interest me.
Were you guys nervous at that point? I mean, you kind of were, you needed better options, Matt. You didn't have anything
No,
else.
yeah, I mean,
you were kind of pushed into it, but were you, did you feel ready?
I'd say yes. Looking back on that, like, interviewing around here, there's some really great companies in Central PA, so there's options. You can always, I guess, get a job, and it was, okay, if this doesn't work out, get a job. Like, it's not too difficult, but super nervous, I guess, to go forward with it, but we felt that we were prepared and we had the right people on the team that were, again, passionate about what they do and care and ready to fight.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to use that as our cliffhanger. So this is a series that we're doing on the Holla Story, so you can tune back in to hear what happens after that as you guys gear up for your fight. So coming up on the next episode, Patrick and Matt talk about what it's like to make vodka, how they compete with the big boys, and what it took to finally get on the shelves of liquor stores. A quick note, earlier in this episode, Pat said that Rhiannon started the World Spirits competition. He meant to say she started the San Francisco World Whiskey Expo. The Holla Story is a co-production of Holla Spirits and Our York Media. It's produced by Will Hanlon and Caleb Robertson. You can learn more about Holla Vodka at their website, hollaspirits.com. I'm Rebecca Hanlon. Thanks so much for listening.